Welcome to the Thursday, June 11th, 2026 meeting of the Lewis and Clark County Commission. Please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning. I'm Tom Rolfe, Chair of the Commission this year. To my right is Commissioner Candace Payne. To my left, Commissioner Andy Hunthausen. Over here, we've got Brandi Grande, who is our recording secretary and keeps track of the minutes and gets them up on our website as soon as possible. Then Jenny Chambers, our Director of Public Works and Planning. Over to the right, to my right, is Nico Hash and TJ Murphy from the County Attorney's Office, trying to keep us legal, and Roger Baltz, our Chief Administrative Officer. There is a sign-up sheet on the other side of the bar. We ask that you sign your name there and leave some contact information should we need to get back to you. So we'd appreciate that very much. There's also an agenda there so you can follow along about what we're doing. Well, welcome. Well, let's get started. We have a consent action item this morning. Mr. Baltz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. This is item 3A on the agenda today. It's public meeting minutes from April 16th and 30th, May 12th, 14th, 21st, 26th, 27th, and 28th, 2026. And staff recommends approval of that item. Thank you, Commissioners.
Any questions for Mr. Baltz on the consent action 3A? All right. Is there any public comment on that item? Any public comment? Seeing none, do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'd move that we approve consent action item 3A as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor of approving consent action item 3A, as explained by Mr. Baltz, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. We're moving down to the action items. Number 4A is a cooperative fire support agreement between Lewis and Clark County and the State of Montana Department of Natural Resources and Conservation.
You are not Autumn.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Correct, I am not Autumn Ashdale. She's listed as presenting this. She couldn't be in today, but I'm covering for her, and very thankfully she wrote me a script, which up top includes press green button, which I've done. So I'm Kyle Sturgill, I'm an emergency manager for Lewis and Clark County. Today, for your consideration, is the Cooperative Fire Support Agreement with the State of Montana Department of Natural Resources and Conservation. This agreement outlines the procedures for Lewis and Clark County emergency management staff to be deployed to incidents and reimbursed for their time, fringe benefits, equipment rates, and costs associated with that deployment. Through this agreement, emergency management staff have the opportunity to assist on incidents, gain additional incident experience, and all while doing it at a financial benefit to the county. In the last year, we've been able to deploy under this agreement twice now. That's kind of helped us out. We've gotten a reimbursement for use of county vehicles, about $2,200. And we've also saved and been reimbursed for personnel time to the tune of about $2,800, all while doing duties that kind of help us towards professional development goals. Autumn does not have this in the script here, but I want to kind of brag on her a little bit. Through this agreement, she's been able to deploy with incident management teams through DNRC, and she just got her Plan Section Chief, Type 3 Plan Section Chief qualification signed off through the DNRC. Something that is really hard to do if you're not deployed to a fire, because you need somebody who is qualified, seeing that you're doing the right things, giving you tasks and signing off in the book. And so she just got that signed off, I think last week, which is pretty cool. Staff recommends approval. The agreement is effective June 1st, 2026 and goes through November 1st, 2027.
All right. Any questions for Kyle? Any questions?
I've got
Commissioner Payne.
Good morning, Kyle. That's cool about autumn. That's great. I just have we signed this kind of a written agreement before? Is this something we do every year?
Mr. Chair Payne, yes, we do this every year. We stretch the agreement out date-wise a little bit to cover more of next year. There's some changes going on with how the DNRC implements this contract. And so it's instead of a 1 year, we made it a year and 3 months or so, I think.
Okay, which leads to my next question. So are there changes? And you mentioned, are they not in this contract, but in the way it's executed or something?
Chair and Commissioner Payne, excuse me. So no changes to the contract itself, just how the contract is executed. A few changes that we've made on our side is the availability of some extra equipment. We've added one mobile generator. We have a 50 kilowatt generator that the DNRC would be able to rent from us for powering, say, a fire camp if they needed to. And then also our Starlink mobile satellite setup that they could use for establishing internet at a remote site. But those are the only changes. Last year we had the emergency management pickup truck on the agreement. This year we've also added actually your commissioner's SUV in case we need to borrow it. We would then get reimbursed for the day rate of borrowing it. But I always return it clean.
With the tank full?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you for that explanation. I really was curious.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Hunthausen.
just for those that might be watching and don't fully understand what we're talking about here, just explain kind of how it would happen. Fire breaks out on state land in central Montana and they need help. What happens? And they need your services.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Hunthausen, so it's a pretty neat system that's set up across the state. It's not just with the DNRC, although DNRC is our direct partner in this. It puts these deployable assets into a interagency system that's managed by the interagency dispatch. And a fire is established somewhere, incident command gets on scene and decides what sort of resources they need. They call into interagency dispatch and they say, we need this, this, and this. And dispatch knows what we have available. And they have a whole long list of everyone who said, yes, I'm available this week, or this generator is already deployed to this other fire. And they would give us a call and then we would deploy the asset. In the past, we've gone to fires as far as Idaho, just across the border, but we try to stay kind of close. And then as close as the Jericho Mountain Fire last summer, and then the Jericho Creek Fire just a couple weeks back, which was obviously pretty close to home.
Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
All right. Any other questions? Seeing none, is there any public comment on this? Any public comment on this item? I see no public comment. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the cooperative, we approve action item 4A, cooperative fire support agreement between Lewis and Clark County and the state of Montana Department of Natural Resources and Conservation as presented by Kyle Sturgill Simon.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor of action item 4A, the cooperative fire support agreement, as explained, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Pose same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Next item on our agenda is a professional services contract between Lewis and Clark County and the Justice Management Institute.
Good morning, Chair, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Kelly Goodwin McBride. I am the Director of your Department of Criminal Justice Services. And for your sakes, I am not going to present the staff report. I have asked Keaton Welch, he is one of your pretrial and misdemeanor probation officers, and save you having to listen to this. So, and also I do want to say Suzanne Seaburn is in the audience. Suzanne is the Vice Chair of the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, and she's the head of our region's Public Defender's Office. So she's here for questions as well.
Good morning, Chair, Commissioners. Yes, I am Pretrial Officer Keaton Welch. The Department of Criminal Justice Services requests approval to enter into professional services contract with the Justice Management Institute to facilitate development of a multi-year strategic plan for Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, which will ultimately inform the CJS's work. Lewis and Clark County issued a limited solicitation for facilitation services to support the CJCC strategic planning process. 2 offers were received and evaluated by 3-member review panel consisting of Suzanne Seaburn, Bob Buzzy, and Kelly Goodwin McBride. Offers were evaluated using established criteria, including CJCC experience, understanding of criminal justice understanding of criminal justice systems, facilitation approach, project methodology, team qualifications, and cost and value. Based on both scoring and qualitative review, the panel determined JMI represented the best overall value to the county. JMI received an average score of 97 out of 100. The panel found JMI's offer particularly strong in CJCC specific experience, facilitation methodology, and project structure. JMI brings more than 30 years of national criminal justice consulting experience and has worked on more than 400 criminal justice system projects nationwide. JMI also played a foundational role in development of the national network of criminal justice coordinating councils, of which Lewis and Clark County is one of the 40 selected member jurisdictions, as well as national standards for the CJCCs and CJCCs and CJCC essential elements. The proposed methodology was detailed, collaborative, and well aligned with the complexity of Lewis and Clark County's 15-member multi-agency CJCC. JMI's approach includes stakeholder interviews, surveys, work groups, facilitated retreats, and iterative review process designed to build stakeholder engagement and ownership of the final strategic plan. The offer also included a clearly structured 9-month project timeline. The review panel concluded JMI's CJCC specific expertise, structured facilitation methodology, and national experience represented the best overall value to the county and substantially reduced project risk. The CJCC Executive Committee reviewed and recommended and concurred with the panel's finding. The full CJCC reviewed and concurred with the recommendation at its May 26, 2026 meeting. Approval of this contract will support the CJCC in developing a coordinated, long-range strategic plan to guide future criminal justice system priorities, collaboration, and policy development in Lewis and Clark County. The contract is for a 1-year term beginning July 1, 2026, in an amount not to exceed $62,073. The staff requests approval of the professional services contract between Lewis and Clark County and the Justice Management Institute for facilitated development of a multi-year strategic plan for the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council.
All right. And would you like to add something? Anybody else like to add something from the council? Well, if you'll come on forward and just give your name and tell us a little bit about it.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, Commissioners, my name is Suzanne Seaburn. I am the Regional Deputy Public Defender for the Public Defender's Office. I am also the Vice Chair of the Criminal Justice Coordinating council here in Lewis and Clark County, and I have been in that position for almost 8 years, I think. In this time, I have had the opportunity to attend 2 National Network Criminal Justice Coordinating Council annual conferences, which I have very much appreciated the opportunity to attend those. And through that experience, I became familiar with the Justice Management Institute because they present those conferences and they provide research and training and a lot of information that is very informative. I've also had the opportunity at those conferences to meet other jurisdiction members, both large, such as Charlotte Mecklenburg, a very large CJCC that regularly attends, and then Yavapai County in Arizona, which is much more similarly situated to Lewis and Clark County. And it's just a nice range of groups. The Justice Management Institute completed, bless you, several strategic planning sessions with many of these groups within the last 5 years. And both at the most recent conference and then in reviewing the solicitation offer, JMI outlined what they did for many of these CJCCs. And I think it's very impressive. I think they have the knowledge of the criminal justice system over many years on a national basis, but they have worked with many jurisdictions that are very similar to Lewis and Clark County. And although I think, we are asking you, recommending that a significant outlay of money be given for this project, I do believe that given JMI's experience and their expertise, that it really is a value and it is worth the expenditure. And I would speak in support of that and recommend that this body approve the contract.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. And thank you for your service with the Criminal Justice Coordinating Committee.
Thank you.
All right. Are there any questions for any of the presenters?
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Hunthausen.
just a concurrence. Keaton, nice job, by the way. Did great.
Thank you. A little nervous.
You're doing great. And Suzanne, thank you for your commitment and all the time you spend helping out with our system here in Lewis and Clark County. Just a little bit, I think I understand this, but we just talked about the significant outlay of funds for this, but it's not a typical strategic planning effort, like you meet for 2 days and come up with a strategic plan. This is a year-long effort, essentially, right? Just speak to that a little bit, I guess, or we can just concur that maybe it's Director McBride, but it's a big deal. I just want people to understand that this is not a typical strategic planning effort. There's a lot more to it than that. So you just speak.
Chair, Commissioner Hunthausen, you are correct. This is not your standard strategic planning where you bring everybody into a room for 2 days and then everybody goes home. They've laid out a 9-month plan. We've given them 12 months in the contract because things oftentimes go awry. So we wanted to make sure that we're doing this correctly. But they understand that we have 15 leaders on our CJCC, and having those leaders, it's the sheriff and Judge Abbott, it's Commissioner Rolfe, all of those individuals have differing schedules. So their approach really addresses that and ensures that there will be telephone interviews, there will be some small group meetings, but they have really tailored this process to the individual members so that we get the best strategic plan, which is what we need to move forward. So we can implement that plan and make positive change in our community.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right. Any other questions?
I just want to refresh my recollection. This program is based on approval by our voters for, I'm not sure it was approval, I think it was a directive. They told us we had to do something to control the jail population. So go out and do it. And this is what we've done. And I don't remember how long ago that we got that directive from the voters. Could you?
Yes, I can answer that. So the voters approved the levy in November of 2017. So I believe that's 8 years ago, 8.5 years ago. And that those items that the voters voted on came from the very first strategic plan that the CJCC had. So the CJCC was formed early on in 2012 with a Citizens Advisory Committee. That Citizens Advisory Committee came up with a strategic plan in 2015, and that strategic plan is what informed what would become the Department of Criminal Justice Services and the work that we do every day. One of those things was to implement a pretrial services program, and we did that in our first year. We have ensured that there's a mental health therapist in the detention center and a case manager, and then we added on for a licensed addiction counselor. We have a volunteer program. We have an early childhood intervention program. And all of the things that were laid out in that first strategic plan, we have implemented and continue. The next strategic plan was 2021 through 2026. And that had 9 goals that we have, that our department has taken on. So it's really that those 3 entities, CJCC, getting advice from the Citizens Advisory Council, telling the Department of Criminal Justice Services, informing us on what our work is to ensure that the detention center is not overfull, that our community is safe, and that we're addressing all of the issues in the criminal justice system.
Thank you, Kelly. I mean, I know this generally, but I think it's important to review why we decided to spend this money. And I believe the records indicate that it is having an effect on the numbers in our jail population. Is that correct?
That is correct. So right now, each of our 4 officers, they are pretrial officers, has a caseload of about 100 individuals. So 100 times, that's 400 folks that are not in our detention center. Those are folks who are in the community. The community is safe. They're working. Those individuals are working. They're taking care of their families. They're doing what they need to do. And with the help of their officers, you just met Keaton. So he's helping those individuals make sure that they make all their court dates and that they're not arrested on a new charge. We also have a data analyst who is taking all of that data and then letting us know what our success rates are. And our success rates are great. About 92% of our folks make all of their court dates. That's a good number. And I want it to be higher, but it will be. And about 88% of our folks are not charged with a new crime while they're in that pretrial period. So that's about 9 months between arrest and trial date. So we have 9 months that those folks can be in the community safely, working with our officers and waiting until they get to court.
That's fabulous.
I probably said more than you wanted to hear. Sorry.
No, I think it's an interesting program. I'm glad that it's successful. I think it reflects the desires of our taxpayers. And I thank you for your hard work on this. That's all.
All right. Just maybe one clarification is we might have been able to get the work done at less expense, but the experience that this particular consultant had, they have a lot more experience, if I understand it correctly, with criminal justice coordinating committees.
Correct. Chair, commissioners, that is correct. Not only did they have more experience with the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, but JMI has more experience in the criminal justice system. And I will tell you, I am still learning new things about our criminal justice system. It's not an easy, it's not linear. And having someone come in to facilitate strategic planning for our Criminal Justice Coordinating Council and not have a background in our criminal justice system, we kind of looked at how much of my time that would take. And I think that would be a full-time job, just bringing them up to speed on how our system works and how our folks work with each other, or in some cases don't work with each other, but we need them to. So we really felt that JMI, it is the best value for the money.
All right. Any other questions? Do we have any public comment on this? Any public comment? Seeing no public comment, do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'd move that we approve the professional services contract between Lewis and Clark County and the Justice Management Institute as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the motion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor of approving the professional services contract between Lewis and Clark County and the Justice Management Institute, as explained by Kelly McBride and others, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. No, motion passes unanimously. On to item 4C, designation of fiscal year 2027 earmarked alcohol tax funds.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. For the record, Misty Edwards, Senior Finance Coordinator in the County Finance Office. And before you this morning is the designation of the fiscal year 2027 earmarked alcohol tax monies. These funds are pass-through funds from the Department of Public Health and Human Services, which receives the tax revenue collected from the sale of all liquor products sold in Montana. These alcohol tax revenues are to be used for the treatment, rehabilitation, and prevention of alcoholism and chemical dependency. The funds are distributed by DPHHS to the county for use by approved private and public programs. The county receives 3 equal distributions of tax revenues throughout the fiscal year, and if the revenues collected by the state exceed that total, a 4th payment is made in the fall of the next fiscal year. In April, County Finance sent applications to state-approved programs that serve Lewis and Clark County residents. After review and consideration of the responses by an evaluation committee, staff is recommending the fiscal year 27 funds be distributed as follows. 24% to Boyd Andrew, 24% to Intermountain Community Services, 19% to Florence Crittenton, 14% to the YWCA, 14% to Helena Valley Addiction Services, and 5% to Montana Counseling Services. This distribution will serve both adult and juvenile populations in Lewis and Clark County. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Are there questions from the commission? Any questions from the commission? Seeing none, is there any public comment? Any public comment on this item? See no public comment. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve the designation of fiscal year 2027 earmarked alcohol tax funds as presented by Misty Edwards.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Hunthausen.
just wanted to thank Edwards and others that have participated in determining, we're going through the process of determining who's eligible and then where the funds may best be used in the community and dispersing those equitably from the perspective of trying to serve all populations in the community, adult and youth, and through those systems. It's a challenge because it isn't a whole lot of money over the year, and trying to determine where it's going to be best used and have the most impact is challenging sometimes. But if you remember, just last week, 2 weeks ago, last week, we heard from the different programs that used the funds last year and all the things they've been doing in the community, and you can tell that it does make a difference. It contributes to their overall revenues and their ability to provide services in the community, and all of those programs that we have sent these funds to have made a big difference in our community and have a strong impact. So grateful for that. Just thanks for the work. Thanks for doing this. It's been kind of a interesting program over the years. There used to be only one or two eligible programs, and now there's many. And so trying to wade through that and determine best place to put the funds is a little more interesting these days, but just grateful for the work. Thanks. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Yeah. Any other discussion on the motion? Any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor of approving the designation of fiscal year 2027 earmarked alcohol tax funds, as explained by Misty Edwards, please say aye.
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 Pose same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Next item is a memorandum of agreement between Lewis and Clark County, City of Helena, U.S. Department of Transportation, Federal Highway Administration, the Montana Army National Guard, and the Army National Guard Installation and Environment.
Good morning, Chair, Rolf, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Jenny Chambers, Lewis Clark County Public Works and Planning Department Director. I am so excited to be here today to finally present this memorandum of agreement between Lewis and Clark County, the City of Helena, U.S. Department of Transportation, Federal Highway Administration, Montana Army National Guard, and the Army National Guard Installations and Environment for Fort Harrison. The MOU is for the Country Club Avenue and Williams Street improvements, for planning, design, and construction of roadway improvements. The roadway improvements shall consist of improvements of Country Club Avenue and William Street. You can see on the map there that the project limit is from the Jocelyn intersection to William Street up to the railroad crossing adjacent to the fort. So we will look at doing road widening, road strengthening, intersection improvements, and that would require acquisition of some right-of-way and also some utility relocations. The agreement outlines roles and responsibility, including coordination requirements and project reports, distribution of funds, and then project closeout conditions. The terms of this agreement shall be in effect upon signature of the last party, which is you, Commissioner Rolfe, until all the work is completed, including pavement of new roadway and improvements that have been constructed and deemed complete and sufficient. So this is going to be a long-standing MOA until we get this project completely done. Lewis and Clark County is the lead agency for this project. The initial funding we anticipate is $1.1 million for design, environmental permitting, and right-of-way acquisition. The county will monitor work, submit reports, and will submit requests for additional defense access route funding as needed through project completion. The next step we will receive a Federal Highway Administration project authorization approval, in which case the Defense Access Roads funding contribution will be available to Lewis and Clark County for reimbursement of activities occurred after the date of project authorization. The first phase of the project we anticipate is to procure engineering and consultant services to perform the design, environmental, evaluate acquisition of right-of-way, help with utility relocations, and then ultimately oversight of the construction project for project completion. That will also be a probably long-standing contract as well. Staff recommends approval of this memorandum of agreement for Fort Harrison Country Club William Street improvements, and happy to answer any questions you guys may have.
If I understand this right, this gets the ball rolling, and then it'll depend on when we get the next set of funding from different sources to take on the next part of the project.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, this agreement is for getting the ball rolling all the way till project completion.
Good.
What we don't have right now is the full funding contribution for that project. It's also hard for the federal government through that Defense Access Route program to know how much to even provide because we haven't done the design to really lay out what the cost of the project is for construction. So yes, as we get the site designed, figure out what that alternative is for improvements, consult with them to make sure they're on board with what improvements are needed, then we will ask for another funding contribution. And they will hopefully find the funding and provide that to us so we can implement construction. So this agreement is from start to finish. It could take 5, 6, 7 years. But they're all committing to this project and committing to get the construction completed based upon the safety improvement that's needed.
Wonderful. That's exciting. You know, this has been something where for years before I ever got on the commission, where I thought that was a confusing road out there. It was not wide enough for some of the heavy loads that the military needs to carry. No way it could be maintained properly. This is going to make a great improvement when I get it done. So I'm delighted to hear it really is getting the ball rolling on it.
Mr. Chair, that's correct. It's also exciting because we're working with the city of Helena. They're going to put in their capital improvement plan for improvements from Highway 12 to Jocelyn, so they can time any improvements needed on that intersection on Jocelyn and Country Club, as well as we're all aware, the Crazy T intersection on Williams. That intersection will also be addressed with new evaluation of traffic safety needs and the best alternative for making that a safer transition.
All right. Any other questions from the commission? Any others?
I have a question.
Commissioner Payne.
Jenny, when I was first campaigning to be a commissioner, I received a lot of comments about the bad condition of that road. And you and I met with General
Nick, I believe.
Yeah,
General
out at the country club and had coffee with him and discussed this whole thing. And I was shocked and amazed that you or someone was able to come up with enough money to put a Band-Aid on that road so nobody gets killed out there. I know General said he rode his bicycle out there and it was dangerous because of the potholes and the traffic. And so I don't know how you did it, but I was very impressed with your figuring out how to give us a temporary fix while the rest of this plays out. I've got two questions that are probably maybe the same thing, but in addressing this, I know there were a lot of wetland issues, environmental issues that need to be addressed. Mm-hmm. And since we already have it nicely paved, are they going to be digging up our new pavement? And so, give me a little guidance here.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Payne, those are two distinct different questions, but I will hopefully answer those. So yes, as part of this project, I had mentioned that they'll be part of the design and we'll have to look hard at environmental permitting needs. There's the bridge, there's 10 Mile Creek, there's of course wetlands closer to Fort Harrison. All those will require an Environmental Policy Act review on significance and impacts. And if we impact the wetlands, we'll have to mitigate those wetlands somewhere else if we attempt to do work in those areas. So it might change the location of the road, or we might have to get a little bit on one side to try to minimize our impacts environmentally. So that'll be part of the design process to look at all that and make sure that we're following the requirements. And it will be federal National Environmental Policy Act because it's federal funding from a NEPA evaluation on the environmental permitting requirements. On the temporary fixed, that thank you goes to you guys. That was allocation of ARPA dollars on a minimal amount to allow us to do that project at the about $400,000 range to get asphalt overlay to have a little bit safer driving surface. That was a temporary solution. Ultimately, the road will have to get reconstructed, which will entail digging that thing up. Digging it up, redoing a base, getting new subsurface established, building the road back up. It will be wider than it currently exists. We have a pretty significant right-of-way through there on Country Club Avenue, so we won't have to impact too much right-of-way acquisition, at least through Country Club. Maybe some work we'll have to do on Williams or with that Prickly Pear Land Trust property adjacent to Fort Harrison there. But we're also looking at pedestrian crossing, so if we can coordinate with bike trails or other things to help accommodate that area, that'll be part of the design as well. So yes, it will be dug up. We might be able to do what we do with the City of Helena or MDT as you grind up asphalt, you turn them into millings. We then use those millings potentially somewhere else. So it might be a reuse situation, but they will certainly get tore up.
I really appreciate your efforts on this particular, I know you do on everything, but wow, thank you.
Any other questions from the commission? Do we have any public comment on this effort? Any public comment on this motion or on this subject? Seeing none, do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I would move that we approve the memorandum of agreement for the Fort Harrison Country Club Avenue, William Street improvements as presented by Director Chambers.
Second.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor of approving the memorandum of agreement between Lewis and Clark County, City of Helena, U.S. Department of Transportation, Federal Highway Administration, Montana Army National Guard, and the Army National Guard Installations and Environment, as explained by Jenny Chambers, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. A great, good start. All right, let's go on to Resolution 2025-41, finalizing abandonment of Grande Avenue in the Rumping Edition. Applicant is Rawhide Properties, LLC.
Good morning, Commissioners. Crystal Nest, Development Services Supervisor, before you this morning with 3 resolutions. The first is Resolution 2026-41, finalizing the abandonment of the Grand Avenue right-of-way in Blocks 3, 5, and 6 of the Rumping Addition to the town site of Marysville. We have seen this project a couple of times before. We had to declare these roads as county roads. And then we had a project before us to actually abandon these roads in the Rumping Addition to Marysville. And today we're here to finalize the survey and the deeds and the resolutions relative to the final abandonment of these roads in the Rumping Addition to Marysville. Of all of the roads that were in Marysville at the time that this was platted, only Tennis Place down at the very bottom of your screen was the only road that was ever actually created or built. Certainly wasn't built to a county standard, but there currently is a road there in that right of way. Today we declared county roads pursuant to Resolution 2025-58 on July 1st of 2025. August 12th, we conditioned the abandonment of these roads. My staff report talks about the history of the right-of-way. We previously had 3 resolutions, which I've shown up here on the screen, where we abandoned portions. We abandoned Grand Street. We apportioned a small portion of Grand Avenue. And then we abandoned a portion of Park Street in previous resolutions. This project essentially completes the abandonment of the additional portions of the rights-of-way. Documents are here for your execution to complete the abandonment of Grand Avenue. The conditions of approval require that the Board of County Commissioners to execute a resolution to abandon and discontinue the county right-of-way for that portion of Grand Avenue. Resolution 2026-41 has been prepared for your execution, and that will be recorded with the Clerk and Recorder's Office. Condition number 2 requires that the applicant prepare an amended plat along with your packets that you got today of the resolution and the staff reports. I've provided you with an 11/17 copy of the proposed plat that will be recorded with these projects. The condition has been satisfied. The amended plat has been prepared, showing all of the necessary and required elements as set forth in this condition, and is here for the Commission's execution today. Exhibit B to your packet shows the amended plat that's been reviewed and approved by the Survey Review Committee. As part of this project, we are also dedicating a public access and utility easement as shown on the plat for the currently existing Trinity Road, which did not have a dedicated easement for it, even though it's the only access that provides access from Marysville going up to Long Gulch, which is to the north of this project. The applicant has prepared deeds and realty transfer certificates for the commissioner's execution, and actually staff has prepared the deeds for the commissioner's execution to transfer this right-of-way to the appropriate individuals that own land abutting these projects. And the applicants have completed conditions 1 through 3 within the 3-year approved time frame. So this morning, staff recommends that the commission approve and sign Resolution 2026-41. Do you have any questions for me?
Any questions from the commission? Any questions?
Chair?
Yeah, Commissioner Hunthausen.
Crystal, thank you very much. You went over this very quickly, but just for those that might be watching today, just the why again. Most of these roads have never been built and are only on paper, and there is a route that exists, Trinity, I think it's called. Just explain that one more time. That the reason why this was asked for. We're doing.
Chair, Commissioner Hunthausen, yes. The Rumping addition to the town side of Marysville was platted in 1887. And at that point in time, almost all rights of way or streets, roads were platted as rights of way. That holds true for the Rumping addition to the town side of Marysville. So the lots are actually exclusive of those rights of way or the roads that were proposed. For those of you who've ever been up here in this particular area, those roads this property is actually very steep. The possibility of trying to create roads in these rights of way would have been impossible given the elevation change from the southern part of this plat to the northern portion of this plat. I think Commissioner Hunthausen can testify to that. As we went up there for our inspection of this particular area, even Trinity Road itself is a very narrow road, but it is the only access to all of these parcels up here in the Rumping addition. So in order for us to abandon these rights of way that were created during the plat, we have to declare them county roads, and then we have to abandon them. And as our last action item, we pass the resolutions that formally abandon these county roads, and we do the deeds and file the survey that actually does the lot aggregation and the road abandonments, and then dedicates the Trinity Road public access and utility easement. One of the things that we considered when we were doing the abandonment is that all of the newly created lots that we've created or that will be created by the survey, all abut and have access to the Trinity Road newly created and dedicated public access easement via the new survey.
Great, Mr. Chair. That was going to be my next question. Everybody has access to their property in this new world that we're potentially going to create here. So,
Chairman, Commissioner Hunthausen, yes. We want to make sure that all of these properties have legal and physical access. Well, not physical access, but at least legal access to Trinity Road. And you'll notice that this one lot that is not part of the road abandonment, this gentleman had some issues with his septic system, and had he participated in the road abandonment and acquired this portion of Grande Avenue, his septic system would have been subject to review, so he opted out. In order to accommodate that lot, we've created a public access and utility easement that abuts this southern boundary of his property, so he has legal access to that newly created public access easement.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Just a bigger picture so that people online are looking at this. If I understand it right, this road, Trinity Road, is the road that goes on over to Little Wolf Creek area, or a Little Prickly Pear area, and Canyon Creek in that area eventually. And below this is the kind of the town site of existing town site of Marysville. Is that right?
Chairman Rolfe, that's exactly right.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? All right. Seeing that none, is there any public comment on this road abandonment resolution? Is there any public comment? I see no public comment. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve Resolution 2026-41, finalizing abandonment of Grand Avenue in the Rumping Addition, Marysville, as presented by Crystal Ness.
Second.
Is there any further discussion on this motion? Any further discussion on this motion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor of approving the resolution 2026-41, finalizing abandonment of Grand Avenue in the Rumping Addition, as explained by Crystal Ness, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Now let's go on to resolution 2026-42.
Good morning, Commissioners. Crystal Ness, Development Services Supervisor. This morning before you, you have Resolution 2026-42, which will finalize the abandonment of that portion of Park Street right-of-way on the east side of Block 3 in the Rumping Addition to the town site of Marysville. Once again, the Rumping Addition was platted in 1887. The rights-of-way were described as this portion of Park Street. According to the previous resolution that was done in 1983, the lower portion of Park Street was already abandoned, leaving that upper portion of Park Street. We declared this county road on July 1st of 2025, Resolution 2025-58. We also approved the abandonment of this road on August 12th of 2025, and with conditions of approval. This morning, we're going to discuss the finalization of that abandonment part of Park Street. Resolution 2026 has been prepared for our final abandonment of that portion of Park Street and will be recorded with the clerk and recorder with this project. Condition number 2 is that we have the preparation of a survey that met all the conditions of approval, the abandoned and discontinued county right-of-way for Park Street, the newly dedicated public access and utility easements, and the existing county road or Trinity Road right-of-way will now be a public access and utility easement. All of the resolutions will be documented on the face of the survey. And then we've retained all of those utility easements that were necessary. The amended plat has been prepared, is here for your execution this morning. We've prepared deeds and realty transfer certificates in response to condition number 3 and have been prepared for your signature here this morning. Condition number 4 was that they get this project completed within 3 years. And we have done that. All of the documents are here for your execution this morning.
All right. Are there any questions on this resolution? Any questions? Seeing none, is there any public comment on resolution 2026-42? Any public comment? See no public comment. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'd move that we approve Resolution 2026-42, a resolution to abandon a portion of Park Street, a county road right-of-way, as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor of approving Resolution 2026-42, finalizing the abandonment of Park Street in the Rumping addition to Marysville, as explained by Crystal Ness, please say aye.
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 Pose same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Now let's move on to Resolution 2026-43.
Once again, Commission, Crystal Ness, Development Services Supervisor, with Resolution 2026-43, finalizing the abandonment of the Highland Street right-of-way in blocks 5, 6, 7, and 8 of the Rumping Addition. I've pulled up this slide here for you. You can see that Highland Street was actually built and exists coming through the town side of Marysville, but instead of going straight north and following Grand Avenue and then Park, we have this Trinity Road road that comes through here that we are dealing now with dedicating that as a public access and utility easement. So Highland Street was actually proposed to be the main connector with the town side of Marysville and the Rumping Addition, but was never constructed. We declared Highland Street a county road by Resolution 2025-58 on July 1st of 2025. And we did a project to abandon that road right of way in August of 2025. We had 3 conditions of approval. Today we have documents to complete that condition of approval. Condition number 1 was that we execute a resolution to abandon and discontinue the right of way. Resolution 2026-43 will accomplish that condition of approval, is here for the Commission's execution. Condition number 2 is that we have an amended plat documenting all of those things, the discontinued and abandoned county right-of-way for that portion of Highland Street, a newly dedicated public access and utility easement for the existing Trinity Road, and a reference to the book and page of our approved resolutions will be on the face of the plat, and we've retained all utility easements that were present in this area. As you can see from the addressing utility easements, as you can see from the survey that's been proposed, we have additionally created utility easements for those existing utilities that were on the ground prior to these road abandonments. The surveyor worked in conjunction with Northwestern Energy to identify where all of the utilities were located and where new utilities may need to be provided. In addition, the new Trinity Road public access is also a utility easement, so any future utilities have the ability to use this Trinity Road public access and utility easement for the installation of any new utilities. Condition number 3 was that we do deeds and realty transfer certificates prepared for the Commission's execution for the abandonment of the right-of-way, and deeds have been prepared. Applicants have completed conditions 1 through 3 within the 3-year time frame, which was condition number 4. And I'm available here for any comments. I'd like to add one more thing. There was a proposed waterway that came through the Rumping Addition in this location. The original plat did not give the county any jurisdiction over this proposed right-of-way. My surmise is in 1887 when this was platted, and of course, Montana was in the throes of all kinds of mining activity at that particular point in time. There's a small creek called Jenny's Creek that comes out of the west side and kind of cuts through this property. The forefathers who platted this may have been proposing to relocate that creek to use that for mining activities that we know all occurred up here in the Marysville area. So the applicants, both Sherry Long and Daniel Beadle, who's actually a county employee, and the folks from the Rawhide Company LLC did a court-ordered quiet title action, and the court quieted title to this proposed right-of-way. So now it too, as part of this new survey, is abandoned. That quiet title action that order has already been recorded, and it will be designated here on the face of the survey. So this project really cleans up all of these properties up here in Marysville, or up above Marysville, and dedicates the Trinity Road public access and utility easement and abandons this proposed waterway. I'm here for any questions you may have.
Any questions from the commission? Any questions from the commission? All right. Is there any public comment on Resolution 2026-43? Any public comment? Seeing none, do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move we approve Resolution 2026-43, finalize the abandonment of Highland Street right-of-way in the Rumping addition to Marysville, as explained by our friendly planner, Crystal Ness.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Hunthausen.
Sness, just want to recognize how detail-oriented and significant this is in terms of the process. There's a lot of work to do this, so thank you, and I appreciate the others involved. I'm sure that county attorneys had to be engaged, and you had engaged with these landowners and organizations that wanted this done, but it's quite a process, and there's a lot to these plats and making sure that the T's are crossed and I's are dotted. So I just want to thank you and recognize how much hard work this represents. And we quickly go through it and approve it or deny it, but there's a lot to this. So thank you very much.
Chairman, Commissioner Hunthausen, this was definitely a group effort between the county attorney's office, myself, the applicant's attorney, and the surveyor to get everything right on this survey. And this is probably one of the most complicated projects that at least I've done relative to road abandonments.
And somebody had to herd those cats. So that was you, I assume. Thank you.
It would be my thought that we should officially call you the fixer.
Thank you, Chairman.
All right. Any further discussion on this resolution? Any further discussion? We'll move to a vote. All those in favor of approving Resolution 2026-43, finalize the abandonment of Highway Street right-of-way in the Rumping addition to Marysville, as explained by Crystal Ness, the fixer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. The last item on our regular action item agenda is the consideration and approval of property and liability insurance coverage.
Good morning, Commissioners, Mr. Chair. For the record, my name is Frank Cornwell, CFO of the county, and I'm going to be sure I don't hit the green button because I would turn it off. It should have said hit the red button. Just a recommendation for Kyle next time. So today, this is a recommendation that we're bringing to you dealing with our PCT, Property and Casualty and Trust renewal. We had a meeting, I believe it's a week ago, going over this with Mako, and we we were told to go back and do some additional work before we give a full recommendation. So after doing all that work, and Roger can chime in here as well, basically, well, let me describe the work. So the work was, we took back the proposal from Mako, and we compared it to some private, or at least one private coverage company. And me and the agent, and also with the help of Mako, we started going over the coverages. And it became very clear really fast that there's a lot of work that needs to be done before we decide to change our plan. And it's a very complicated risk analysis that comes with this choice. Also, we had decided, there were some decisions made with the agent as well that had affected our renewal costs, and you guys are looking at them right now. And that has also gone into our recommendation as well. Roger, do you have anything to add?
Well, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, Mr. Cornwell has laid it out for you. I don't want to preempt anything he has to say, but
Okay.
the recommendation before you today from staff is to renew our participation in the Mako PCT pool for another year. They've revised their quote, and I'll leave that to Mr. Cornwell to summarize what their quote is. And while doing that, we intend to spend the next year thoroughly vetting and researching other options for what we refer to as our property and liability insurance coverage. But the recommendation to you today is for us to proceed at this time with securing our insurance coverage for the coming fiscal year, remaining a part of the Mako PCT pool coverage for another year at the rate that they have quoted us. I'm sure that Mr. Cornwell was going to go through this as well, but this has been fully presented and is a part of our recommended budget for the current fiscal year. A few days ago, you took a look at some of the budget requests, and this is fully budgeted for the next fiscal year. So I would just add those comments to you. So that's our recommendation to you today. And Frank, if you wouldn't mind just confirming the specific amount of the quotes, I think that would be good for our commissioners. Thank you.
We'll do that. So just to add to what Roger was saying, we are recommending to stay with Mako, but there were some changes that have been made since the last time you met and you saw those numbers, and I've gotten them in front of you, but just a few things to think about. That we worked with the agent, which is Marsh McLennan, and they have decided to agree to a rate reduction from 10% to 5%. So it's a half. They've cut their rates in half for us. Also, we've done a thorough review of our properties and the property value coverages with Mako, and they have adjusted our schedule, and which has affected our rate as well, specifically with their property. So just at a high level, the original renewal was at $1,830,000. Now the final renewal is at $1,690,000 ish. That's a reduction of $135,000 through the working with Mako and the agent. So that's a pretty big reduction in that. Also, compared to fiscal year 26, the final renewal represents an increase of approximately $76,000, which is a 4.7% increase year over year. We'd like to see that as opposed to the double-digit increases we've been seeing. But we saw the presentation from Mako, and they have a reserve that they're trying to build up over time. So I don't believe that their rates are going to slow down anytime soon. So we need to continue this research into these other carriers and see if there's any other options that might be viable for the county, so we don't have to deal with these increases year over year. But just like Roger was saying, staff is recommending approval of the Mako PCT program for fiscal year 27 at the renewal rate of $1.69 million. And I'll take any questions.
Are there any questions for Mr. Cornwell? Any questions? Seeing no questions here, do we have any public comment? Is there any public comment? I see no public comment. Do we have a motion on this recommendation to approve the property and liability insurance coverage?
Mr. Chair, I would move that we approve the recommendation for renewal of our property and liability insurance coverage with Montana Association of Counties as presented by Mr. Cornwell.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion?
Mr. Chair.
I just want to comment that I really appreciate the diligence, your diligence in looking and your commitment to continue to look for ways to save our taxpayers' money. And insurance is a tough one for everybody right now. I see it in my personal insurance, and everybody I talk to seems like insurance rates are going up. But appreciate your commitment that we'll work on it and see if there aren't ways to save some money on it going forward. But thank you for the effort.
Absolutely.
Any other discussion?
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Hunthausen.
Similar comments. Thank you to our whole team, Mr. Baltz, Mr. Cornwell. And the look at this, I think, as mentioned in our meeting with Mako, that we really owe it to our taxpayers to study the market and look and see if there's a better value, but we really do have to compare apples to apples. So it's easier to get a better price out there, but not have the same product. So we want to kind of compare the same level of coverage and those kinds of things. So taking our time to do that just makes good sense. And then finding savings within their initial proposal to us, which was going to be a 13.1% increase, it looks like, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we got that down to a 4.7% increase. So that makes a big difference, saving $135,000 in this proposal versus the original proposal. And then taking this next year to really look at the market and look at what we might be able to do. And if this still is the best value next year, then we continue. If not, then we have. But I think we need to do our due diligence. So thank you for that. And I am happy to support this proposal. So thanks, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Any other discussion on the motion? Any other discussion? Seeing none, then we'll move to a vote. All those in favor of approving the property and liability insurance coverage and expense as explained by Frank Cornwell, please say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. We've arrived at that point in our discussions in our meeting where we offer the opportunity for the public to bring anything up in our for us to consider that is of concern to them that they'd like for us to know about. We ask that it be items that are under the jurisdiction of the commission, but not on today's agenda. And if you come forward, and would give your name. Yes, turn it to green if you would.
All right. My name's Charles Payne. This is my wife, Patricia Juza, and our son.
Sorry, he couldn't go ahead and start today.
Yeah. And we are New Beginnings Homeless Shelter of Helena, Montana. We've started our own nonprofit I go hold a sign at the cathedral. They give me the money and I've done this. Sorry. And so I took the money that was given to me and we've already started our own nonprofit. We have a website. We need a building. We've already started. I'm really nervous. I'm like, yeah, you please
okay.
Go ahead.
Hi guys, I'm Patricia. I'm a little short here. There we go. Do you want to take them?
Yeah.
So what we've done is we have the nonprofit, which is our website. We've got it registered with the Secretary of State now. It has its own tax ID number. It's now a 501c3. We've been in contact with some people around town trying to get a building. We were on the news the other day, on Monday. We've just recently been in contact with a woman that we know that works over at Keller Williams Realty. She's been helping us. We've been in contact with the people that have the old Albertsons over there on Fee Street 3 times. We've actually gone and tried to get a hold of them. We haven't heard anything, but we're hopeful. We're praying. We're in the middle of talks with a church. That's one of their parishioners came to us, and they have an empty building. And so we met with them once, and they're meeting with each other. And then they want to meet with us again. We have, after some people saw us on the news on Monday, we kind of blew up, so to speak. We have people that with Eagles 2020 reached out to us, and now we have a fundraiser set up for August 24th. And this just happened within the last couple of days. We've been working on this for about 3 months total, really hard working on it. But within the past week, it's been really blowing up, really happening. My husband and I have been going around to every business in town, seeing if maybe they can donate stuff for our fundraiser. We've had a few people that have said yes, like the Big Dipper ice cream place. They've said yes. The hotel, there was a hotel that said they'd help us. Everybody, we're going to car dealerships saying, hey guys, do you have something maybe we can auction off? We are grassroots. We have started this literally from the ground up. My husband and I have been homeless, each of us, for about a decade. I was actually pregnant with our son this past winter a couple winters ago when we were homeless. And fortunately, because I had to give birth in Great Falls, we had to go back and forth twice a week from Great Falls to Helena, checking on our housing. Well, these people aren't so fortunate. And too many times the homeless just get forgotten. And I'm going to start crying. I'm sorry. We are all God's people. And everybody deserves a sense of security. And so we just wanted to let you guys know how much progress is being made on this, because we know that some people say until they're blue in the face, we're gonna, and then nothing's happened. Nothing has happened. And I'm sure people are aware that God's Love is not a homeless shelter anymore. They're not housing. You have to pay rent there, and you have to be employed and pay rent there. So now they're a soup kitchen. Our plan is a bed every single night of the year. It does not become easier to become homeless in the summertime. I'm proof of this. There is still exposure. There's still theft. There's still rape. There's still murder. It doesn't become easier. Just because it's not 30 below outside doesn't mean it's going to be a lot safer to be outside. And we don't just want to be a shelter. We want to be a step up, peer support, counseling, addictions counseling, whatever. And if we can't offer it in our building, we will know people. I have a PAC team over at Aware. So I already know a great team of people that can help. You know what I mean? We already know this. So I'm sorry I'm rambling, but I'm very nervous right now.
Offered to help us. They've offered their time to volunteer for this project.
Yeah, we've got people coming to us can we volunteer our time? Can we help you in any way possible? AmeriCorps, we talk to them. We're talking to everybody trying to get this off the ground and get going.
All we need is a building now. Yeah.
All right.
Did I give you guys business cards?
If you'll just go ahead and give them to the secretary, she'll get them to us. Thank you for your efforts, and we hope that you'll keep us surprised of what's going on.
We will. Thank you so much, guys.
God bless you guys. Thank you.
You bet. Is there any other public comment? Seeing none, we're adjourned.